This is going to be my reaction video to the Ravens' 37-3 win over the Seahawks at home in Week 9. Just a real dismantling of a good football team that came in 5-2. The Ravens put together 4 quarters of great football today on offense and defense, and didn't have the special teams mistakes that have been characteristic of some of our blown losses in the last 2 years, 2022 and 2023. This is the real potential of this Baltimore Ravens football team, particularly when healthy or generally healthy. We still got some really good football players not on the field at this point, but also when playing at home. Fans of other teams may not recognize it or may not be aware. This team could easily be and should be 8-1 or 9-0. Teams often say that, players, athletes, coaches, fans of those teams. It's no stretch to say that we could very easily be 8-1 or 9-0 right now after 9 weeks. This is a talented Seahawks team, and our defense just dismantled them completely. Talk about the offense for large parts of this video, to be real, but going to focus on the defense just for a moment. Seattle's got an incredible trio of receivers. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, JSN. Geno Smith played well last year. He was top 10 in the league in MVP voting, I think 8th or 9th at the end of 2022. Seattle came in averaging 24 points. They only generated like 86 or 88 yards of offense in the first half. That's amazing. I don't think Seattle passed 100 yards of offense until the third quarter drive that ended in a 4th down stop in the end zone, where you actually see a picture of it here in a moment cycling through, where Geno Stone nearly gets his 7th interception. His elevation is ridiculous there. I mean, Marlon Humphrey had great coverage, I thought, on DK Metcalf, who only had 1 catch today. But Geno was there to make the play and get the stop. Seattle didn't exceed 100 yards of offense until that third quarter, 4th down, or until that drive, I should say. So, amazing performance by our defense. Mike McDonald and all the guys on defense deserve credit. Here's one of the crazy things about it. I'm not sure Seahawks fans will like this at this point. My apologies. It could have been worse. It could have been worse sooner. Let's put it that way. It's 37-3 final. 30-3 after Keaton Mitchell's touchdown run, I think in the third quarter, that I'll show you the drive breakdown of. But we wasted a possession in the first half. We score on the third possession to go up 7-0. There's been 19 minutes of even gameplay to that point. We get a stop. And our 4th possession, I was really pissed off with our play call on one of our play calls here. And in our Discord, other guys were probably like, why is Coach so negative? And maybe you will be too. But we get a 23-yard run or 25-yard run out of Lamar on the first play or second play of that 4th possession. You may remember it. He scrambles out the right side, bottom side of the television screen, left to right. 4th possession, we're up 7-0 because Boye Mafe cleanly beats Ronnie Stanley on a pass rush. Somehow Lamar, with his back to Mafe, or maybe he was turned a little bit, was able to see it as peripheral vision, scrambles out of there to the right. Boye Mafe is still chasing Lamar. I think he's like 2 yards behind him the whole time. Unbelievable athletic play by Lamar to get out of there. And Mafe, who's 6'4", 260, is running, maybe not with him step for step, but he's not too far behind. I think he actually got credit for the tackle. So we're down there around the Seahawks 35-yard line, 4th possession, up 7-0, and we go empty and pass the ball. And sure enough, Ronnie Stanley gets beat again by Mafe on what I thought was a similar rush, a speed rush, an outside rush. And Mafe gets a strip sack. It's the 4th possession where we now know that we've won the game 37-3. As you listen tonight, or hopefully Sunday night, before the Monday Night Football game, we feel good as Ravens fans. But that situation there bothers me because that's that type of play call is one of the reasons why we end up in closer games with teams that we shouldn't be, because we're arrogant. Now, you can say, hey, Coach, we got 1,000 yards of offense in our last 2 home games against the Lions and the Seahawks, who came in with 11-4 records combined, and we thrashed them 75-9 combined. You got a good point. You do. But I'm going to tell you that not every game's going to be like that. Not in the, quote, modern NFL. We could have got points there to be up 10-0 or maybe even 14-0 sooner. Another illustration of how it could have been worse, and I'm not faulting anyone for this one. Kyle Hamilton nearly got an interception in the third quarter. I thought was an amazing play. Scores 23-3 at that point. It was a 3rd and long, and the only thing available to Geno Smith at that point was to throw it to the tight end, Fant, out in the flats. And Hamilton, who looked like he was playing at like level 20 speed today, comes out of nowhere, nearly intercepts it. It's not a drop because it's a great play, but we would have had another scoring opportunity there. I guess that one really didn't matter for real, because after the fair catch on the ensuing punt, after the fair catch by Duve, 2 plays later or 3 plays later, Mitchell busts a 40-yard touchdown run where he's just running away from people on Seattle's defense. It's still late third quarter at that point. That did make it 33. My point is, Kyle Hamilton's interception could have put us in scoring position sooner, I guess, and given us more time to score more points. As it was, we took Lamar out with 12 minutes, 13 minutes left. I thought that was a smart move by our coaches with how well our defense was playing. One of the shocking things for me was how many guys made, I'm going to let some stats flow here, how many guys for the Ravens offense made plays? How many guys contributed on offense to this win? Seattle had came in here giving up 15.7 points per game in their last 3 games since Jamal Adams returned. And we dropped 37 on them with 500 yards of offense. That's unbelievable. If these two teams were to play again next week, is the score going to be 37-3? I don't know, but the sheer number of really good football players we have overwhelmed them today. It's not easy to imagine that it would be similar next week. Maybe not 37-3, maybe 24-3 or something like that. Our defense was fantastic. Our offense just had so many guys contribute and make big plays. Think about how many guys were impactful on offense. OBJ had a touchdown late, his first touchdown of the season. Cool. That was when Tyler Huntley was in the game, by the way, our backup quarterback. Keaton Mitchell, 138 rushing yards, nearly busted a second touchdown run that went for 60, seemed to run out of gas on the play after he raced down the right sideline. I think Reek Woolen makes the tackle. Bateman had a diving catch on one possession, I thought, early, and I thought he was open on one of the deep balls that was somewhat overthrown. Gus Edwards, imagine that, has another 2 touchdown runs, 52 yards rushing on only 5 carries, by the way, so plus 10 per carry, which Mitchell was as well, 9 for 138. This includes the huge run for Gus on the opening play of the third quarter, which really calmed me down, at least as a fan, because we're up 17-3 at halftime, thanks to Justin Tucker's late field goal in the second quarter. And that moment, that first play of the third quarter where Gus busts it and nearly scores, I think it was Mafe on the tackle, but I might be wrong. That was like, hey, this is not going to be another third quarter or second half collapse. More on that in a moment. Still cycling through the guys that had a contribution offensively. Likely looked really good when he was on in the second half. To my knowledge, Seattle still had their starters on when Likely was getting a lot of run. Flowers, however, only had 1 catch for 11 yards. I think it went for a first down, by the way, on a third down, I should say. Ricard blocked really well. I thought Tyler Linderbaum looked fantastic in the run game, which is where some people have criticized him. Got to give Todd Monken credit. 500 yards of total offense again for the second time in 3 games, which is pretty unbelievable given the win-loss record of the teams we went against, regardless of what you may think about team schedules. The wins in the NFL count, they're real wins. It was insane. Focused on the offense most of all here. We really haven't talked about the defense other than the lead-in. We've had many games where we've been dominant in the first half in the last 2 years. And then things get close. Maybe we win a close game or maybe we blow the game. Recently we had Titans week 6 across the pond. The Steelers on the road in week 5. We blew that game. The Colts at home in week 3. Not necessarily dominant first half like those 2 other ones, but one that we controlled. I think 90 seconds left in the game. We have the football and the lead against the Colts. If you go back to 2022, Dolphins at home. Giants on the road in week 6. Jaguars on the road. The Steelers at home late in week 17. This has been a real dynamic for this team. And not only did we get 60 minutes out of the offense today, there was no third quarter collapse at all. The defense was ridiculous. So many guys on defense were locking down in coverage, attacking at the pass rush. I thought we dialed it back a little bit, pass rush-wise, mid-late third quarter. Let's talk about what we limited Seattle to. Metcalf had 1 catch, like I said. Tyler Lockett had 3 for 32. I think JSN had 6 catches for 60 yards or so. Looked really good on that one-on-one against Arthur Millette up the right sideline. He's a good player, obviously. But Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, they came in. The Seattle offense came in averaging over 100 rushing yards per game in 2023. I think they had 750 rushing yards in 7 games. Well, today, Walker and Charbonnet finished with 13 carries for 24 yards. That is insane. That's like you're playing Madden on rookie level or something. It's ridiculous what our defense is able to do in some of these situations. 2 of the last 3 weeks, the Lions and Seahawks at home. We get the Browns at home, and then we get the Bengals at home. 2 home AFC North games in a span of 4 or 5 days. The season is going to be, I don't want to say determined, but largely the projection of our season, where we could finish, is going to largely be determined by 2 home games against AFC North opponents that we've already beat, and we're playing fantastic at home. Certainly feels good as a Ravens fan. When I say we're playing good, not we're playing good at home. We're playing great. 75-9 scoring differential is unheard of in the modern NFL. Haven't even mentioned Lamar Jackson yet, other than the scramble and then the strip sack by Boye Mafe. All he did today was go 21 for 26 passing. That's 80% completion percentage, mind you. 187 passing yards. Okay, it's not much. Well, we did rush for 300 because we had a 60-yarder, a 40-yarder, and then Gus had, I think, a 49-yarder or 48-something. No passing TDs for Lamar. I think that's the point. This offense is so talented that we don't need Lamar to give us 3, 4, 5 touchdowns a game in terms of passing and rushing TDs combined. He didn't have either of those because Gus seems to gobble up the rushing touchdowns. But Lamar, on top of 21 for 26 passing, to show you how much of a rarity he is, 10 carries for 60 yards. And think about the other side of the ball that I just mentioned. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, 14 carries for 23 yards. The quarterback for our team had 10 carries for 60 yards. Ridiculous efficiency, yards per carry, out of this world. I think 7.3 for the Ravens today. Yeah, there it is on your screen right there, 7.3 yards per carry. I hope to do a video of some of the read option plays, including yet another fumbled exchange between Lamar and Justice Hill, which was clearly disappointing. We had 3 fumbles overall. I will digress for a moment here and talk about that. I've addressed this, I think, a couple of weeks ago. One of the things option teams are going to do is they're going to put the ball on the ground. If you go back and look at Nebraska's last national championship, 97, 98, something like that, I think they had 28 fumbles that year, something like that, or maybe more. But the potential for fumbles for this year's team is heightened, if you ask me. Why? Because we're no longer a, quote, option team. We're no longer so singularly focused on the option game and concepts like we were with Greg Roman. Therefore, we spend less time on them in practice because we have to spend time on other concepts. Todd Monken's trying to create a multiple offense. That's cool. That's the end goal. On the way, there are going to be ball handling issues because even though this is the NFL and there's only so much time in the day in terms of practice, those things are going to happen with option dedicated teams. They're still going to happen because there's a mesh between the quarterback and the running back and a read. They're going to happen even more so for teams like us that are transitioning away from being an option team, but are retaining those concepts and spending less time dedicated to them in practice. But we still want to retain them because they are so dangerous. Keaton Mitchell looked amazing, man. I mean, the burst on 2 of his runs was obvious. He looked like a creative player on Madden or like NCAA football. Kind of showing my age there with the NCAA football reference, although I heard that game's coming back. But Mitchell took the Seahawks defense by storm. They got talented athletes all over their defense. Witherspoon, Reek Woolen, Maffe's a blur for the size he is. Bobby Wagner's no speedster in his older age, but he shows up at the point of attack everywhere. Mitchell just went out there and blasted them. 9 carries for 138 yards. The 40-yard touchdown run, the 60-yarder, like I said, where Woolen tackled him. Kind of ridiculous, the stats that we were able to put up. Let's do the defense some before I talk about some of the possessions I thought was important. Held the Seahawks to 157 total yards, which is kind of paradoxical because Geno Smith threw for 157 yards, 13 of 28 passing, clearly not very efficient. But he lost 34 yards on our 4 sacks. I mean, wow, we've been blessed to see some great defense in Baltimore over the years, but we just held a Pete Carroll Seahawks team with all that talent to 6 first downs, like you see in the bottom left of your screen. I was wrong. I guess it was 151 yards of total offense. This really shows the balance of our defense, if you ask me. There's so many guys who cover well, so many guys who can get to the quarterback that we can be multiple in terms of our blitzes and coverage, but not expose ourselves to explosive plays. I only noticed 2 today. Metcalf with the 50-yarder on a dig It was kind of a weird route. We were up 14-0 in the second quarter after Gus's second touchdown run, and Metcalf gets he's got a really delayed release on his route from outside. It's a dig, so maybe there's something there in terms of the design. 50 yards. JSN had that big catch up the right sideline that I talked about where he beats Arthur Millette. Other than that, no explosive plays at all. None. Shocking effort, if you ask me, that shows how much depth we have on defense. I think that Marlon Humphrey coming back has leveled up the defense and Mike McDonald in terms of what we're capable of in terms of coverage and blitzes or stunts all packaged together. Marlon's playing great. I don't know what Tony Romo was talking about. He's the most targeted receiver in the NFL. He hasn't played a whole lot, Tony, okay? Number one. Number two, last week someone told us that Brandon Stevens was the most targeted DB in the NFL. So Romo did mention that as well, but he didn't explain it well. Maybe I'm not re-explaining it well, but I haven't seen Marlon Humphrey be targeted a whole lot in the last 2 years. They did get beat by George Pickens on the road for a touchdown that put the Steelers up. I don't think he was completely healthy that day. He's been healthy since, and I think he's been playing great. You guys let me know what you think of Hump's play in the comment section. Thought he blanketed receivers. Kyle Van Noy, how can we even quantify what we're getting out of that dude? It's not like every possession, but when he makes plays, they're big plays. 2 sacks in a row today, late in the second quarter, after OBJ's fumble. And I thought this was huge. OBJ fumbles were up 14-3. They could make it 14-10, 14-6. Huge momentum shift, if you ask me, because of not only when he did it, but which part of the field it happened in. So let me explain. He gets 2 sacks in a row. The second one is a strip sack of Geno Smith on third down. His first sack pushed the Seahawks offense from our 43-yard line back to their own 46. And then his strip sack gives us the ball on their 36. So all we've got to do is get 4 yards or so. And we've got what we think is a makeable field goal for Justin Tucker. I know he's missed, I think he's 1 of 4 on 52 yards or longer this year, something like that. But Lamar with a slick third down conversion pass to Andrews over the middle with 21 seconds left. Then we go up and spike it. This is cool as can be. And Justin Tucker drills the 37-yarder to make it 17-3. For all intents and purposes, the game was over at that point. Although, as Ravens fans, we were never done worrying, really, until about 8 minutes left. I kind of stopped charting, I'll be honest with you. If you look at the game charting I've got here, I kind of stopped charting at 8 minutes and started writing my what I wanted to say for this video. Precisely because of how many games we've blown, like I talked about earlier. Still more defense stuff. Kyle Hamilton with a near interception. I thought Hamilton took away 2 routes that Geno Smith wanted early in the game, meaning he covered guys so well that Smith had to move on to the next guy in the progression, and by that time the pressure got there in at least one of those situations. Oweh had a sack after letting Smith out of his grasp earlier in the first half. I thought Oweh looked explosive on that spin where he did get the sack. Clowney didn't get his sack today, but he swatted down 2 passes from Geno Smith and then made a great play on the backside of a run concept. Kenneth Walker III running away from Clowney, and Oweh runs him down from behind. Just runs down the line. I don't mean he tracked him down in terms of speed. I just mean he took a great angle. Travis Jones and Michael Pierce also batted down passes near the line of scrimmage, which is kind of interesting because Geno Smith's 6'3". And the film that I had from the last 3 weeks against the Bengals, Cardinals, and Browns, I didn't see a bunch of balls tipped at the line of scrimmage by Geno Smith. Our guys are just really good at doing it. Last year when JPP was doing that a lot, a part of me thought, well, this is just a JPP thing. He's a veteran. He's smart. This looks like our guys are trained when to do it, and they're recognizing it. Everybody's trained to do it as a defensive lineman, but they're recognizing when to do so at the exact time we need to. So there's a lot of high-level instruction going on in practice that the players are translating over in the game. Check this out, the stat that I looked up after the game was over. Since Geno Smith has become their quarterback, so 2022 and 2023, he was there in 21, but he only played like 5 games, I think, or 6. They've had a 27-7 loss at the 49ers in week 2 of 2022 last year. A 30-13 loss to the Rams at home this year in week 1. But that game is a little misleading. It's 17-13 Rams, week 1 this year, like I said. 17-13 entering the fourth quarter. And the Rams finish the fourth quarter, the final 15 minutes on a 13-0 run to get the win at Seattle. So you got two losses that are by significant margins the last 2 years, but they're early in the season. Week 1 this year, week 2 last year. There's kind of a theme there. Yeah, I know they lost 41-23 to the 49ers in the playoffs, but that game was close after 45 minutes. I think it was 23-17 Niners going into the fourth quarter. I could be wrong. But this, 37-3, a game that was really only close for, 22 minutes, 23 minutes, something like that. I guess the Seahawks lost another game in 2021 that I looked up, 17-0. But regular season, this doesn't happen to Pete Carroll teams. This was early dominance, all game really for our defense. In the beginning of the game, however, it looked like both teams' defenses were going to dominate. You got both teams trading punts for the first 4 possessions. And then let's get to this third possession by the Ravens that culminates with Gus's downhill run, 4-yard touchdown run. That looked like a real push by our offensive line on that touchdown run at the bottom. It's 1st and goal from the 4. I thought the option keepers by Lamar were amazing on this possession. Again, it's down near the bottom. It's right at the beginning of the second quarter. 1st and 10 from the 32, and we go twin slot A. And I don't know the third one down, the second one from the 13. I didn't get the formation. We might have went hurry up there. I'm not sure. But I think that one was A as well, meaning running back, tight end, same side, and the tight end arc releases, and we just isolate that defensive end. Very similar to plays we ran against the Titans and the Lions, where Lamar reads the D end, keeps it out the right-hand side. The second and one from the 13 was the left-hand side, and it was Andrews on a dual read. So dual read is something that we started doing in 2019. It's a very unique concept. Maybe I'll cover it this week with some film from some old film. We were still doing it last year some, but NFL defenses started to really recognize when we did it. What I like about this on the 2nd and 1 from the 13 is we did this with Mark Andrews and not Pat Ricard. Historically, we had done this with Ricard or Boyle before Boyle got hurt and we let him go. You had a completion to Likely up at the top on the 2nd and 5, which I thought was pretty amazing. And then the 3rd and 6 to OBJ was awesome. I thought that there was a mug look by the Seahawks, meaning there's 6 guys up on the line of scrimmage, and they bring pressure, and Lamar gets it out to OBJ. I thought Lamar was great against the blitz today. You guys let me know what you think of that in the comment section. I think it was last week there was some talk about how well he played against the blitz. I didn't think he was that good against the blitz last week. I thought that the Cardinals did a nice job of mixing up the 8-man max coverage looks with some blitzes. I didn't think we were as efficient. This week when the Seahawks blitzed, Lamar killed him immediately, including that 3rd and 6. Then Justice Hill converts a 3rd and 1, Lamar with 2 keepers, and then Gus finishes it off to put us up 7-0. 4th possession we wasted, could have been 10-0 or 14-0 sooner. 5th possession, we go down mid-second quarter, a long drive. You can see we got it from the -16. And I think this is the first run by Mitchell, but I might be wrong. It's a draw on a 2nd and 8, and they snuck him in there, at least from my perspective. I thought it was Justice Hill. And then I saw the burst, and I was like, whoa, what was that? And then as I saw Keaton Mitchell get up, I was like, okay, makes sense. Keaton Mitchell for 11. Lamar scrambles and finds OBJ over the middle for 13. I thought that was a brilliant play, and then we just turned it into the Keaton Mitchell show. 9 yards on an F counter, 9 yards again. I thought it was F counter 2 plays in a row, which is somewhat disrespectful at that level of coaching, to run the same concept on you 2 plays in a row. And I might be wrong. I'm talking about the 1st and 10 from the -42 and the 2nd and 1 from Seahawks 49. 4th and 5th play down for you guys from the top. Mitchell for 9 and Mitchell for 9. And I might be wrong on the second one. Maybe it was an F counter. Lamar keeps it again for 12. Look at the run. This looks like the 4th possession against the Lions and the 10th and 11th possession last week against the Cardinals. So there's a time in the game when Monken, for whatever reason, has either manipulated the defense into opening themselves up to this, or these are things he feels like he can exploit whenever he wants to, which, again, there's a little bit of a level of arrogance there. Like, Greg Roman would have gone to that on the first possession, and then there would have been, as the announcers, I think Romo was talking about, the defense adjusting during the game and kind of taking those things away as the game progresses. So got to give credit to Monken for not going to those things sooner, I guess, because now we have 3 examples lately. The Lions week 6, 4th possession, 10th and 11th possession last week against the Cardinals, like I said, and then this 5th possession where we just go Super Saiyan mode in terms of running the football. and the defense can't stop it. Finally finish it off with another option keeper by Lamar. I'm sorry, with Gus 4 yards after the option keeper, where we didn't get much, but we got a penalty on Trey Brown, who they subsequently took out of the game, and we go up 14-0. I've already covered the situation where we fumble the football with OBJ, or give up a field goal, fumble the football. We forced a turnover with Van Noy. Let's get to the third quarter offense. Probably should have gone to the third and fifth possession sooner. Forgive me for that if you sat through this long and it was boring. My apologies. But third quarter, we've had trouble. Some of the games, let me preface it. Some of the games where we've been super dominant in the first half. First half against the Steelers. First half against the Titans, we're up 18-0. I don't know that we're dominating them offensively. First half against the Lions, obviously, we were as well. We've had some situations where the offense either cooled off or just disappeared for large stretches. I think we did against the Cardinals until that 10th and 11th possession where Monken made that adjustment to run the football. Not today. Not today. First play of the third quarter, Gus for 40. Okay, there it is. So it was 42. I said 48 earlier. My apologies. Again, still running the ball. I thought it was a big completion to Bateman. I thought it was for more than 2. This 3rd and 6 completion to Bateman underneath. I thought it was longer than 2, but I guess not, because it clearly, by my marking here, I got it going from the 30 to the 28. Tack on a field goal to make it 20-3. Mitchell busts the 40-yarder 2 plays after what I thought was a great catch by Bateman over the middle. I think he only had 3 catches today on 4 or 5 targets. 2 of those targets up the right sideline on go routes. I thought he was open for one. I thought one of them was an overthrow by Lamar. I thought the other one might have been a throwaway because there didn't look like separation on it, but then once the ball got out of bounds, it looked like Bateman was separating. So for my money, I thought there was one time where he was open and available on a go. But I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we went to it. Let me put it that way. I'm glad we tried it with the right guy. What I mean by that is Bateman. No disrespect to OBJ. He's not our guy on a vertical, I don't think. He's doing great work on slants, underneath, on third downs, in the end zone, which is exactly what we signed him for, in my opinion. Bateman, to me, looks like a guy that can get... He's done it before. The Browns in 2021, he's done it. He beat them on vertical routes. So we have a guy who can do that. I'm glad that Lamar gave him an opportunity. I don't know about you at this point, 30-3, late third quarter. I was still worried. I was. Call me dumb, because our defense is just too damn good for it to be a problem at that point. I remember the Miami game last year. This is nothing like that team at all. That defense had Marcus Peters coming back, I think, I didn't think he was really ready to play yet in terms of being totally healthy. Marlon went out of the game in the fourth quarter that day, and we just weren't ready to defend yet with Kyle Hamilton the way he is now. Totally different situation now, so I shouldn't have had any anxiety at all at 30-3 late third quarter because of how well this defense is playing. A couple of halftime notes. I won't waste your time with it. I was kind of surprised that the Seahawks run game did nothing in the first half. These are just some of my notes. I thought there was a really nice throw from Geno Smith to left sideline to Lockett for a first down. I think it was like 16 yards. My notes say, other than that, it doesn't look like the Seahawks can move the football consistently. Of course, we know that to be true now. They only had 6 first downs. Another note that I made was the Ravens' ability to get pressure grew in the second quarter. This could be because of in-game adjustments by our coaches or players. I don't know. But it looked like we weren't getting as much pressure early, and then the second quarter it just looked like it exploded in terms of pressure and batting passes down. In the Discord and in my notes here, I would expect some screens or offbeat plays by the Seahawks in the third quarter. And what it looked like they came out with on their first possession was putting Walker and Charbonnet on the field at the same time. I didn't think their little motion out with the running back where he comes back in and they run the ball, I didn't think that was effective at all today. I've seen it before have some impact. It didn't today. Less than 200 yards of offense in the first half, and my quote was, this is the blueprint type of game for this Ravens team to make it exciting late, and we just didn't do that at all. We didn't allow them to do that at all. Last comparison that I'll make, because I know people want to watch the Monday night game, is, I don't know about you, but this felt like a kid at Christmas today. A kid who gets to celebrate Christmas, I should say. Go through all the fun, opening gifts, playing with them, enjoy it, go to sleep. What I'm talking about is the 17-3 lead at the half. And then we extend it to 23-3 with 2 critical field goals. That's what it felt like. 23-3, I feel good. We're in good shape here. And then you go to sleep on Christmas night, and you wake up the next day and you get a second Christmas. That's what it felt like watching Keaton Mitchell explode through the Seahawks defense. I know it's a weird comparison, but I was trying to think, like, how can I explain what it feels like to another fan base, if Seahawks fans are still listening? That, first of all, they deserve credit if they are. But seeing a rookie who was undrafted, left college after his junior year, with the speed that he has, put us up 33 was pretty amazing. And then I'll add on to the analogy here some more. Seeing OBJ get his first touchdown. When, oh, by the way, it was a clean win against Woolen. I mean, that's a 24-year-old all-pro level starting corner in the NFL. All-pro potential every season. And that's a clean win by OBJ. If that doesn't make you excited as a Ravens fan for how well OBJ's, I thought, it was obvious he was playing well before that. 300 yards rushing, 500 yards of offense. 75 points scored in the last 2 home games against the Lions and Seahawks. And we've got 2 home games coming up against the Browns and the Bengals. I would caution against thinking that we're just going to beat the Browns. I mean, they won today 27-0 against a third-string quarterback, maybe fourth-string, I don't know, but they traded away Josh Dobbs. But their defense is a monster. They split with us last year when we beat them at home, and then we go up there and lose the game that I thought was definitely winnable. So we have to sweep them. We have to sweep them and gain an edge in this division. It's pretty amazing what the AFC North is right now. Cleveland is 5-3. The Steelers are 2. Bengals are 4-3 with a game to play this week still. But if you look at the AFC North right now, it's a combined 21-11 with some of those wins and losses against each other clearly. I didn't have time to look at the AFC North's record against the rest of the league. I know the Steelers haven't lost a game in the division. All 3 of the Steelers' losses, I think, have come outside the AFC North. So that doesn't support what I'm talking about. But this is a quality division. I don't know if you guys remember, or if you're still listening, prior to the Lions game, there was like 3 comments that said the AFC North is weak this year. I didn't respond to it because I was like, well, I was thinking it's a little early for that. Well, look at what you have now. In any case, man, we get 2 home football games in the span of 4 or 5 days. Healthy football team right now. I would say it's imperative that we get a win against the Browns because we all know what the Bengals are capable of and how well they've been playing lately. Who knows how they're going to finish up because I'm recording this right after the game. Appreciate you guys' time, man. Let me know what you think of the reaction video covering third possession, fifth possession, and third quarter offense together. Probably took me a little bit too long to get to that, but this was an exciting game, and I wanted to offer you guys as much analysis as I could. Appreciate your time, man. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this reaction video to another unbelievable home win by Baltimore, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach. Clearly, every content creator is going to go out and do videos on Keaton Mitchell and OBJ. Man, support all of them, not just me. If you listen this long, man, go support all of those guys' stuff, even on weeks when the Ravens lose, because those guys put in hard work and would like to be supported. I appreciate you guys' time, man. Let me know what you think of the video in the comments section.